Hello, and welcome to iGaming Accent, brought to you by SBC Eurasia. And this is, I think, ninth episode that I'm here with you, and I'm still hanging on, even though there is a summer outside and everybody wants to quit their job, go be like a free soul there. But today, me and Waho, your one and only host, with Michael Filletti, a good friend of ours, we'll sit down to discuss everything regarding the affiliation. So first of all, Michael, let me introduce you with the regalia. You are a founder of Roti, if I'm pronouncing the names right. Just quickly introduce yourself. So how are you? How are you feeling?
Thank you. So it's great. It's great to be here. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure. So I'm Michael. I'm the co-founder of Roti. Basically we are a BI platform for affiliates. So we have a platform that helps affiliates show their stats in one place. We give them insights into how to improve their revenue, how to grow their revenue. How to grow their business, essentially. So a data platform for affiliates. In terms of me, a bit about my background. So I think you were going to ask that, but I just went ahead.
Yeah.
So I graduated in maths and statistics quite a few years ago now. My background is as a data analyst. So I'm a numbers guy. I came into the industry around 8 years ago. I started working for an affiliate. Was a data analyst there, got to find out about the challenges of affiliation and what's good, what's not so good.
We are skipping like few questions that I really wanted to ask, so that's good. That's already a good sign that we will have a good discussion today. Okay, that's great. By the way, so the first thing that you got in after the university was the iGaming, and the part of the iGaming that was affiliation, and you were coming with numbers, to dealing with numbers, and that was where you started. So that's great, and you are still doing it, right? So you are still in the same, let's say, vertical.
I'm in the same. I mean, I'm still obviously in affiliation. My role is obviously a bit different to a data analyst. I take care of more of the operations, let's say, of Roti. But ultimately, the goal is the same, which is to help make affiliates smarter with data.
Okay, I'm not going to skip this. I see in the background many like interesting things. Can you explain what is happening there? So there are many helmets. Is there your hobby?
So I love Formula One and I love MotoGP as well, but I don't actually have one MotoGP model, but I'm a big fan of Formula One. So I like to collect these like half-size helmets. So they're about this size, and they're a big passion of mine. I've been a fan of Formula One my whole life, so they're like little things that I like to collect. They're a great topic, for when I'm on a call.
It's always a great topic to start with that. I'm using, by the way, for the demos and everything, if I'm not working from the office, I'm always using my cat as a conversation starter because I'm still
it's a good idea.
Building my, let's say, crib for the Legos because I'm a big Lego guy. And
really? Okay.
But I still have to finish my collection of, by the way, I'm collecting the helmets as well, like Star Wars helmets. So I still have like few to build. In few like months, it will be more than enough to showcase that.
You're a big fan of Lego?
To be honest,
Okay. And Lego have a partnership with Formula One, so you can even start collecting these Formula One.
I know.
I actually have one near me. I have like this little Formula One car of Lego. They have much bigger ones, but still, it's a good crossover.
Have you seen their crossover that they did with them, like a marketing stunt? It was really cool.
The big Lego cars, and they were driving them.
Which were driven.
Yeah.
That was so interesting, even though that I'm not like quite a fan of Formula One, I would say that, but I think that Netflix changed that part for me like a few years ago when they introduced Drive to Survive, and that was such a great marketing move. By the way, I'm coming from marketing side, like product side, and more like a marketing / product / I don't know, already everything guy in the company. I think that is like relevant to you as well. Pretty much, we have to dig into different parts, and we will talk about that as well. So that was the part that I came back to the Formula One, because when I was younger, I remember Kimi Raikkonen. I was watching this guy
Yeah,
like every
I
race.
have a helmet of Kimi Raikkonen. Okay, this one over there,
Oh,
the red one there, that's of Kimi Raikkonen.
okay, nice. Have you watched, by the way, new F1 film about it as well?
I need to watch it. I mean, it might be. So I'm a hardcore F1 fan. Okay, again, I've
Mhm.
been. I mean, I'm named after Michael Schumacher. You know, it's like my
Yeah,
full name is Michael Ayrton. You can guess where the Ayrton is coming from. So I
yeah,
was raised in Formula One. So I'm a bit of a hardcore fan. So the movie, I will watch it for sure because I think
yeah.
it's even the production, all that stuff is amazing. I'm not super sure about the story. I can imagine it, you know, being a bit cringy, but I will watch it
As
for sure.
always.
You know.
Yeah, but from what I've seen, they are comparing it to the things that are very, very like one of my favorite movies, like for example Rush, and for
Oh, Rush is
example
an
even
amazing movie.
yeah,
Rush is
is an
excellent. Rush is
yeah.
excellent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Amazing movie with them, like, and it's based on true story, so that gives
Yes.
them extra. And it was
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that makes a big difference. That's my wish, you know. I wish that they do another movie similar to Rush, you know, because there are so many good stories in Formula One. And
yeah,
just to jump back to what you were saying about Drive to Survive and all this stuff. I mean, when I was growing up, I knew maybe I had a couple of friends of mine, okay, who were into Formula One. No one else cared. Yeah, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, would tell me, "Oh, Sunday I don't want to watch, you know, Formula One. Let's go out, blah blah." Would always be an argument. And then all of a sudden, after COVID, especially, all of a sudden I'm watching races with her. My friends are starting to get into it, and now, I mean, all of my friends know who Charles Leclerc is, for example. You know,
yeah.
so it is honestly
I think
a
that Formula
masterpiece,
One
like how they did it.
marketing team is doing
It's
great job,
unbelievable.
bringing
It's
back the
unbelievable,
fans and involving new
for
fans
sure,
as well
for
into
sure.
the sport that is, and the sport
Absolutely.
itself evolved so much with the
Yes.
technology and everything. But
Yes.
let's set that aside. So that's good to have also. But let's go back to the affiliation side, and I
Yes.
think that that would be interesting for Formula One as well. So, like for me, affiliation side is a dark hole. Like that is sucking everybody in, and that is like some black thing that nobody knows what is happening inside.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a connection with another universe in there, like time is lost there when you go near it, and so on and so on. Can you just, in a nutshell, explain to me what is happening there and how affiliation works? As an, like, what is happening? Why it's so like hard to get into it, and why is there black hole like circling around it?
Yes. Okay. Okay. So I think so. Affiliation, if I had to just explain it in very, very simple terms, affiliation is all about being essentially the middleman. Okay. So an affiliate is the middleman. He's responsible, he or she, whatever, is responsible for putting a product in front of a consumer. Okay. So just to
It's
give you
like a
an example.
dealership, right, for the car industry to have
Yeah,
a.
kind of. I mean, what I would say is that, I mean, a classic iGaming example is that you have a website, okay, where you promote bonuses. People come to your website because you write good articles about football, for example. And on your website, on an article, you'll have a link to Bet365, to, I don't know, Betson, whatever, a bunch of different sporting operators. These people who come to read your website for like good content and whatever see the offer. They're like, oh, I don't know, I'd like to bet on Liverpool against Juventus, for example. They click on the offer and they go off to the operator. You get rewarded because you sent a player to the operator,
Ah, okay.
and that's how you make money, and that's how affiliates make a lot of money. Affiliation isn't just something of iGaming, you know. I mean, in e-commerce, it's massive. It's even bigger. I mean, then you have dating, finance, loads of other verticals. But yeah, I think in iGaming it's maybe a bit more particular. But from my experience, to be fair, it's a very I think they're very nice guys in affiliation. Not everyone, obviously, but that's everywhere. But it's quite a welcoming community from what I found at least.
Okay. One thing that really interests me is that how affiliation tricks that, for example, I've sent the customers to Bet65 or any other brand. How I, as a affiliate, track that guy was really sent to that website? And do we share between each other some information regarding that? Or is it some kind of technology that works there? Yeah, like
Yeah,
let's
it's
little bit dive into it. So, for
okay.
example, for regular marketing, we were using UTM links, and it was like that. So we knew from which source, which banner, which campaign people come to our website, and we could then link them to usernames, and then BI have like transactional data attached to it and have all types of different things like what made more impact and what was like last impact to those customers. But about like in affiliation, how it works, like who shares data with whom and what type of data is shared and how it's tracked are like my most, let's say, the parts of the dark hole that I'm trying to solve right
I
now.
would say that's the billion-dollar question or problem in affiliation, okay, in terms of tracking. I mean, there's a general problem in terms of attribution, which I won't get into too much because then it goes into other verticals, and it's not a topic which I've spent too much time on. But to make it like simple for you, so just to use the example before that we mentioned of the website. So you're an affiliate, you have a website, and you send players to Bet365, for example. So Bet365, firstly, you would have a deal with them, right? To tell them, okay, guys, I want to promote Bet365 on my website. How much money will you give me for sending a player to you? You set up a deal. They will then give you a tracking link, which will be your own tracking link, which will say, okay, Vaco sent us, I'm saying your name right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's really close to that. Georgian names are a little bit hard. It's like like
You have the Vaco.
yeah, Wacho. Yeah, it's
There you go.
Wacho.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so you have this player's coming from Vaco, so we need to reward him for it. So from your end, all you need is the tracking link, and then the player goes through. Now, Bet365 have their own portal. We can and essentially, yeah, it's basically a portal. You'll have a website you log into. You'll have your own username
So
and
I can
password.
create my tracking link. Let's say that.
Exactly. You log in and you'll see, okay, I sent them, I don't know, one player, for example, and they're gonna give me $150 or €150 for it. And that's in simple terms, very simple terms, how it works. And I would say that, let's say the basics of affiliation are that, set up an account, you get a tracking link, promote the player, and you get rewarded for it. Now, obviously, I'm talking about here one link with one partner, right?
That is my next thing. That from what I was listening. So let's imagine I have an affiliate website, and there are like 100, let's say 100, like top brands that we know about and we love to bet with them. And I want to promote all these 100. Let's imagine like that. So I'm going to every website and I'm trying to deal with everybody individually because most probably the deal value size, like you mentioned, 150 USD, it might be like even 100 or 80 or sometimes more, like 500 or so on and so on. Who does that? Like, is there a person that is killing himself right now, like going through all these deals and doing all these things individually? Like, what's the deal there? And I have another questions, but I'm not going to bombard you right now.
It's okay. No, it's a good question. I mean, in general, yes. I mean, a lot of this stuff is done manually. I mean, some of my friends who have their own affiliate company and they're big, they make a lot of money. Some of them do all of this stuff manually. I mean, they go in there, they create an account, they create links and all that stuff, which is, to be honest, it needs to be manual usually. And usually they'll have big teams, okay? It won't just be one guy. The problem, I would say, is, I mean, creating links and all this stuff, unfortunately, it needs to, I mean, there is a way that you can automate it, but I think because it's so sensitive, doing it manually is not necessarily a problem. I would say the manual problem is getting the data. So for example, you mentioned 100 partners. These 100 partners will not all have the same portal, okay? Bet365, for example, have their own unique portal. No one has a portal like Bet365. I don't know, Betway, for example, super partners, they're called now. They have their own one. Then you have these platform providers like Netrefer, Referon, SellExpert, blah, 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 my affiliates, and they all work in their own different ways. So the problem is that the data that you see and the way that they work are all different. It's all a different process, and managing that is very, very difficult because you've got so many different things to manage to do that it makes it extremely challenging for the affiliate.
So I have additional two questions. One, the data is provided inside that platform most probably, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I should log into X partner's website and I should take the data and have that. And for example, for reporting, most probably by the end of the month, as accountants do, I should go through all of them, like take the data, or like copy it and do that. But I think that my question lies into, is this data trusted? So how I know as an affiliator, let's say like that, it's more correct grammatically, that I've sent 10 users and not 100 users. So I'm dependent on the provider's data that he is providing me within his system, right? Or
Yes.
you mentioned also other systems like Referon and other parts.
Yes.
So how should I be, let's say, I should trust them? Is there like a thing? Or
It's a very, very difficult and complicated topic. It's something that I don't know if it will ever be solved, to be honest. But let me say from the affiliate side, because that's the side that I know best. I know that a lot of affiliates tend to be quite suspicious about operators doing what we call shaving. So for example, I see that I have 10 FTDs today with you, with X partners, whatever. And then I log in the next day and I just see 8. And I'm like, that's what happened there? You know, what happened to those two?
True customers.
Exactly. 2 customers just disappeared, and that's my revenue, you know? And it's something which does happen. I mean, I'm sure of it. I've seen it happen. Is there a solution for it? Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, you have obviously trusted operators who are more, let's say, honest, trustworthy. They don't do this sort of stuff. But there are operators that do that, and how do you stop them doing it? Because ultimately they have the power, right? Because this is the data. It's their data. And if they tell you, guys, these guys are fraudulent, we had to remove them. I mean, maybe they were fraudulent, but maybe not as well. So it's a very challenging, delicate topic. I was actually asked about it on another podcast, and I have no answer, honestly. I mean, what we can do from our side is offer tools to affiliates to help them at least flag it to them. So, guys, this partner is shaving you, which is something that we've done a bit in the past. The only issue that we had was that nothing really came of it. So they told the operator just
was
said,
like, it's fraudulent users, so we had to
fraudulent.
block them. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you're kind of stuck. But yeah, it is you have to trust the operators ultimately, because that's all you have, you know, as an affiliate. It's just
I think
where you are.
that part also creates another problem that comes to my mind. So that means that affiliators are more likely to prioritize the old and trustworthy brands over newcomers, new entries, or new ones to the market. Is that true in that kind of sense?
I think it's a balance, right? So obviously you have, yes, trustworthy brands, as in you know how they work, you know them, you know that you can trust them, etc. Whereas new guys just show up. I mean, you don't know if they can pay you at the end of the month, so there's always a risk. The balance that you need to find is that typically old brands, I mean, for example, let's take the US, so everyone has an account with DraftKings and FanDuel, right? As in, to get more players for them, you just need to find guys who are turning 18 and convert them, essentially. Otherwise, everyone has these brands. But if you go to an unknown brand called, I don't know, Michael Casino, for example, no one has an account there. So there you have much more potential. If they pay you, it's amazing. It can be amazing for you because you can get way more people on there. So it will have more potential. But it could come at a risk.
So if I understood it correctly, if the market is saturated too much and they're like well established, they already cover most of the customers. So even though you are sending them, let's say 1,000 customers, like 999 might have the account with them. So you are most probably losing money as an affiliate on those customers that you are sending.
Exactly. It's just, it's essential. I mean, your conversions will be very low because lots of your, I mean, let's say you have a list of emails, for example, and you're sending them emails, guys, sign up to DraftKings. But if everyone already has an account with DraftKings, it's pointless. I mean, because you're not going to get rewarded for them. So that's the balance, you know, to strike. And that's where I think one of the magic bullets is, let's say, in finding that balance. You need to find new brands to work with, but you need to make sure they're trustworthy, etc.
On that topic, you said regarding the payment. So can we discuss a little bit about that? Are there like different types of payments that these platforms pay. So you mentioned FTDs, you also mentioned revenue share. And from my experience just within the industry, I know that some of the affiliate programs that we work with, because they have like big brands and they use gamification, like they pay like up to 60%, sometimes up to 50, and saying like guaranteed CPA or so on and so on. What are the models there? Can we just quickly overview for my future as well and for the ones that are coming into the industry?
Okay, so there are, I would say, I'll touch on, let's say, the main three. I think in affiliation in general, there are quite a few others, but let's focus on the main three in iGaming. So the first one is rev share. So this is basically revenue share. Okay, so anything that the brand makes from a specific player is shared with the affiliate.
Is it from GGR or NGR?
NGR. So it will be, fees have been removed, etc.
Yeah.
So you'll have typically, I mean, the percentage varies. It can be 50%, I would say, is a nice percentage. Above that, I've rarely seen, to be honest, and then can go below down to like 20%, 15%, etc. But I would say that's the general benchmark. Now, the positive of rev share is obviously long-term value, right? So when I send a player, if I send Vajo to Bet365, whatever he loses, I'm going to keep on making money from him, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like it has a bit of stability to it in the sense that if you stop sending traffic, so if I never send another player after you, I'm still going to keep on making revenue. The problem with rev share is that it's also volatile. So what happens if Vajo all of a sudden wins, becomes a millionaire? Then
and also if I abandon playing at all or in the iGaming at all.
As well. Yeah. That can also, maybe you're a low value player. Maybe you go in, you just put in 20 euro, okay, you lose. So I get whatever, some money, and then that's it. So there is an element of risk with rev share. But in the long term, I think it's one of the most solid revenue streams. Then you have CPA, which is, I would call it like kind of like instant gratification. Okay, so you send a player there. I send Vajo to Bet365, and they're gonna pay me 100 euro CPA. Now, usually for CPA, there will be things like baselines. So, for example,
I have to make at least 50 USD. Yeah,
exactly. Vajo needs to deposit at least 20 euro, for example, just to make sure that you're a quality player, blah, blah. And I get 100 euro out of that. Now, the positive of that is that it's a bit more predictable. So I know that if I'm going to send 10 players, I'm going to make 1K, right?
Okay.
The problem with that is that if you don't keep sending traffic,
you're
not making any money. Now this is quite popular with PPC affiliates. Okay, why? Because PPC affiliates or paid media affiliates, they're actively spending, so they want their money to come back as fast as possible. They don't have to stay waiting for players to play, etc.
So I will interrupt you here. So PPC, so they are advertising themselves, and from the traffic that comes to the middleman, they are then converting it to affiliation operation. So I understood right. So I have, like, let's say a blog, and I advertise, I pour into the marketing, pour into advertising, like in different markets, I do like backlinks, like many different things. So, and for sponsoring them, I really need money. So I need instant rewards on that. And that's why I'm doing CPA. If I understood correctly.
Let me explain, because I'm not sure if I followed all of that. But what I would say is that you're an affiliate, okay? You have Vajo.com, whatever. You're promoting your website on Facebook. So you're paying, I don't know, 100 euro a day on Facebook so that you show up on people's news feed.
Yeah.
People will come in, they click, okay, they see a bonus that they like, and then they convert. From your side, since you're spending 100 euro a day, you want to get money immediately. You don't want to get, like, I don't know, a rev share player, especially because it's also important to remember that since rev share can be negative, if Michael comes in and clicks on a link and all of a sudden becomes a millionaire, wins a lot of money, then I've wiped out all my rev share for the month with that brand, and I'm screwed. So that's why CPA is more preferable for paid media affiliates, and that's how it that's the main advantage of that.
Got it.
It's
and I didn't know, by the way, I didn't know that rev share might be negative, and that is something new for me. So if somebody wants a jackpot, so from that brand, I'm not going to receive anything till the end of month or end of maybe next month as well.
Exactly. So for this, let's say, I don't know, you're making 5K, okay? It's the 29th of July, and all of a sudden a player comes in and wins big, wins a lot of money, and all of a sudden your ref share becomes minus 50,000. So at the end of the month there, you don't get paid, basically. Now, some brands also have what's called negative carryover. So negative carryover
from
means
month to month.
that it keeps on. So next month you're going to start from minus 50,000, whatever, and you have to kind of win it back. And that's the challenge of Rare. Then you have to just hope that he loses. That it's like.
Okay, understood. Too many things, too many questions from my side.
There's also a combination of all these, okay, called the hybrid
so
deal
you can combine them as well? So
you do rev
CPA
share
plus
and
rev share.
CPA. Yeah. Then there are also flat fees as well, where like a brand will pay you 5K and tell you, Vaho, put me at the top of all of your websites, for example. So
that's like a sponsorship. That's like
exactly.
that I'm familiar with sponsorships on different
there you
websites
go.
with different companies. So that is closer to marketing. Okay, got it. Like one of interesting parts from my side would be how much. Like let's take a regular companies, not like tier one companies like Betway and all that, like big ones like Bet360 and so on and so on. How much of budget is spent on affiliation from all the efforts of the marketing usually? If you can be like,
I have no idea. Honestly, I'm not totally sure. What I can say, I'm not sure if I should say cut, but anyways, what I do know is that a lot of brands have a big percentage of their revenue coming from affiliation. So affiliation is a huge part of
their operation,
of their revenue. I mean, there are some operators that don't do affiliation at all, so they totally cut it off. I remember.
I was most like the story that I don't know much about it. I always worked with the companies that never did affiliation.
Wow.
It was totally marketing, organic one, and we never went through this in any of the different markets that I worked with.
I remember when Tipico closed their affiliation arm as well. That was quite a few years ago. But I remember that because I was at an affiliate. I was working at a big affiliate at the time, and it was quite a big deal. So, but for the ones that do use affiliation, generally it's a substantial part of their.
I think that I remember a few stories about some affiliation closing down. I think that you know much more about that. I even know like big ones closing down and like going to like sending out emails that from X day you won't be even receiving the money from us anymore. So can you like briefly explain what is the reason behind it, and is it a trend that there is, and is it going to go like increase or decrease, or what's happening there? Why are affiliation closed?
So, when you say affiliation closed, you mean like the affiliation channel of an operator?
Yeah, from operator perspective, because I have read few newses about that, so that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I mean the reasons, honestly, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But the effect that it can have can be quite brutal, you know. So I've seen affiliates who were owed quite a bit of money, and all of a sudden the affiliation arm just shuts down, and then from then on they're just not paid affiliates. And I think that the reason that's up to the operator. But I would say that what it does do is it increases a lot of problem in terms of trust between operators and affiliates. So this goes back to the original point that we spoke about trust, you know, the numbers that they give you and whatnot. And to be honest, as an affiliate, I understand that they will be frustrated about this and about they want to kind of, let's say, pull things a bit more towards them because they know that they have less power and that something like this can happen. And ultimately, you're running a business, you know, you have families to feed, etc. So it's a shame. I think it's not really a problem when an operator closes down their affiliation arm, because then again that's their business.
If the
but you have to
operation
do it
closed
properly because it damages the industry a lot, and it's unfortunately, you know, not like it happened once, you know, and it will keep on happening.
One thing that I would ask that So the legal part I'm also interested. So if there is a portal that I'm registering to, there must be terms and conditions as well that I'm agreeing and also company agrees with. And so, for example, for sudden close, there might be clauses for different, let's say, courts to discuss it over there. So has that happened, or as you mentioned, like more of the bargaining power is on operator side, so they can do however they like it, so they can close it one day and that will be it and nobody will come after them?
Not sure. Honestly, I have no idea. I was never an affiliate, so I never had these. I always worked for an affiliate or with an affiliate data-wise, but I'm not totally sure about the legislation part.
Okay, so then you're a data guy and
Yes.
you've been in the affiliation part for a long time, and I think that we can learn from you a lot about that. So for the data, first of all, as an affiliate, let's talk about from the affiliation side, what is the most important thing that I have to really care about from the data standpoint, and how can I utilize this data in order to improve my operation, my revenue, most probably because what we just learned about affiliator side. And yeah, let's just start there.
Okay. So I think that when it comes to affiliates, the first thing that they want to know data-wise is, okay, how many FTDs do I have and how much money am I making? That is, I think, the most basic thing and the most important thing to start off with. And that's not something which is easy to solve because you have to, again, log into different
Logging into the
portals and
different,
whatnot. They have to go. It's not easy. And I think that the big challenge over there and in general with affiliation is that you don't own the most relevant data, let's say. So okay, you have your website, you know how many people are coming onto your website, you know what they're doing on your website, but ultimately clicks don't pay bills. So ultimately you want to understand, okay, but how much money am I making? Where is it coming from? So that's the ultimate and inherent challenge in affiliation. Now, again, first thing, okay, how much money am I making? What's been quite encouraging from what I've understood is that when an affiliate understands that, when they have that kind of covered, the next question that they have is, okay, how do I use this data? How do I get more out of it? That is for me really a good sign because it means that affiliates are recognizing
starting
that
to thinking here.
I need to optimize. And that is even trickier to get because that depends a lot on, in general, operations and data are always very tied together, but for affiliation even more so. So to get more insights, you need to look at what we call click level data. To get click level data, you need to set up your tracking links in a particular way. You need to pass parameters. You need to have a tracking system. So it's very complicated, but ultimately it is necessary for you to be able to optimize and grow your business.
Okay, so now I get the hard part. So one is on-site data that you hold as an affiliate, and even holding the data is quite a mess because you have to track everything, like with subpages, everything from marketing experience.
Yeah.
I remember how hard that is. Okay, I got that sorted out, and then the operation part comes in. So for different providers, different affiliate programs, and I get all the data. And what you mentioned, sorry, what you're calling click data, you are calling it click
Yes,
data, combining these two together is a click data, right? If I understood.
So when I say click data, kind of. So what I mean is that seeing your conversions and your revenue at a click ID level. Okay, so we can call them click IDs, dynamic variables, sub IDs. Essentially, each row is a separate click. That's basically
Okay,
what it
understood.
means.
Understood. Okay, and that is the part where new question arises. So how
Yes.
I can, to be honest, I'll tell a personal story. So we had such a great data analyst in my previous one of the jobs, and he was always real keen into data, real could dive deep, stay there for 3 nights straight just to get to the thing that he liked. And after some time, he noticed that some of the data was not relevant and was not bringing even it for us because, big dashboards, everything there, everything connected, everything working out is great. And at first glance, it's like we have everything that we need in order to do things. But the hard part hits that when you know what you have to do and you have to execute, And also the hard part is that you don't know what to do with the data that you are gathering. So
Yes.
all the data is there, everything is tracked, but okay, what should I do next?
Yes.
And I think that's what you are telling me, that is where affiliators start to think about and start to open up to new things as well.
Yes.
But
Yes.
what is the first thing they do to be
Okay, so because there are many layers there. So just to start on the story that you mentioned about the data analyst is very interesting. Okay, because it's something which I think is a very common challenge for BI teams, for data teams. So me as a data guy, if you give me a data set in front of me, it's very easy for me to read it, right? As in like I understand what's going on, I know what questions to ask, I know how to play with it, etc. To someone who's not a data guy, they're not gonna know what to do with it. So typically there's always this challenge, and I saw it in quite a few companies where I worked, where me as a data person, I build dashboards for the end users, and the dashboards will be very nice, they'll be very like
clean,
technical, clean, and
presentable,
have a lot of insights. But then as soon as I give it to you, and I've made this mistake as well many times, I give it to you and you're like, what on earth is this? You know, what do I do? I mean, okay, it looks beautiful, but I have no idea what to do. And you end up not knowing what to do to it, and you just leave it and you just ignore it and you don't use it. And it's funny because this was actually a challenge that we had and have still with our platform, where we have a lot of data. We give that data to affiliates and they're almost overwhelmed with it and they don't know what to do with it. So there's a big difference between, again, you have a lot of data, but then how do you use it? How do you actually apply that data? Because affiliates are not data analysts, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that this is one of the biggest topics in data and affiliation right now, about building usable data. And for affiliates, it's particularly tricky because there are all these different platforms, because the different platforms give you different numbers. So imagine Casino Partners X gives you deposits, but Casino Partners Y doesn't give you deposits. So if you compare the average deposit value, you cannot compare it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, so there's a lot of these nuances. But what I would say that affiliates have to be with data is you need to be greedy. So you have to try get as much data as possible, and you have to chase these 1% gains. So okay, maybe Casino Y doesn't have it, but Casino Z does. So compare Casino Z, Casino X.
To Casino
Maybe
A,
you
yeah.
can promote one a bit more than the other. Okay, it increased your revenue by 1%, but hey, 1% is better than zero, you know?
Yeah,
And you have
it's
to
like
kind of chase these gains.
It's like a segmentation for different types of
I
programs.
think it's just
Grouping.
being practical and understanding that the perfect solution does not exist in our industry. You have to understand these nuances, and you just have to accept it. You know, I wish that I could build, you know, a dashboard which has everything, but ultimately, if the brand doesn't want to give me deposits, I cannot get it. You know, I'm not a miracle worker either. So that's why I think the data topic has been so challenging for affiliates, because these are problems that I used to see 8 years ago. You know, when I entered the space, and that are unfortunately still there because it's the nature. It's the nature of the space.
Yeah. One thing is that you've been into in the affiliation industry for a long time. What have you seen change there for the last 8 years? What is like a, let's say, a trend there? For example, we are talking about personalization in iGaming. We are talking about ultra segmentation, putting everything in front of the customers as soon as he thinks about it. So hyper personalization is really topic. We are talking about gamification, like original games and so on and so on. But what is on affiliation side? What are the main things and main topics that arise?
The first one that I'll say is one which I already mentioned, which is about the usage and how data is viewed, okay? So I would say that when I started at around that period, I think that data was viewed very much as how much money did I make? And once you solve that problem, okay, you're sorted. Why? Because I think it was much easier for affiliates to make money back then. It wasn't easy, but it was easier. Because there was less competition, and the space wasn't so saturated. So now I would say that the questions that affiliates are asking are not like, okay, how much money am I making? But they're asking, how do I make more money? Or how do I stop losing money here and there? So the questions have become much more complex from affiliates, which is for me a very positive trend. a trend which is unfortunately not so positive is that the industry has gotten much more challenging. So, 5, 8 years ago, I would say even 5 years ago, I mean, there were lots of affiliates who were like specialized in one traffic source. So, for example, Vaho is a master of SEO, and he just figures out SEO, and he's a king at it, and he makes a lot of money. But now, with the rise of AI, with these Google updates and whatnot, it's become very challenging SEO. You have some guys, to be honest, who still are very good at it, and on top of it, I mean, you can be very good at it and not have good results, okay? As in, I've seen it. But let's say you're on top of things, okay? You're managing it, and fair enough. But because of all these changes, because it's become so volatile, that they start to say, okay, Vaho, okay, you're an SEO master, but you need to try something else, in the meantime, try to email, try to PPC. And so we started to see affiliates kind of hedging a bit. So they do a bit of PPC, they do a bit of email to diversify, which is also a good thing because as a business, I believe that you need to diversify to make yourself stronger. Because what if tomorrow ChatGPT releases an update and everyone stops using Google? I mean, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
but
and what if like Google releases new update and your
what if
SEO years of works like goes down and like starts from zero?
So it's a big that's I think one of the biggest trends that we're seeing. We're seeing big companies big companies obviously will have better deals with operators, right? Because they're bigger companies, they send more traffic, and they get better deals. So they start to launch networks. So you, Vaho, instead of going directly to Casino X and you get, I don't know, $100 deal, you're going to go to a big company's network and you're going to get a $150 deal instead. They're going to take a cut, obviously, and networks have become extremely popular. Like, everyone has a network.
Yeah, everybody's network. By the way, for me, like, when I was first entering this industry, like, these networks, First, I believe that they are like casinos itself. And when then I dived in, why do one casino brand has like 10 different casinos behind it? What is happening? And then I realized it's just a network. So they are like aggregators.
They basically, I mean, from the affiliation perspective, they offer deals to other affiliates, okay? So they're like a master affiliate. Then you have a sub-affiliate who gets, I don't know, a better deal than he would if he went directly to the operator. And for the sub-affiliate, it's good because they don't need to stay going through the KYC process and whatnot, because obviously setting up an account
it's much easier to set it up and
it's much easier.
Okay.
It's funny. I've seen a network have a sub-affiliate who had a sub-affiliate who had another sub-affiliate, and everyone's just taking a cut. Like, it's
Come on. So there is a middleman for middleman for middleman.
Exactly.
And how deep does that rabbit hole goes in? Like, what is so I might have 5 sub-affiliates if I'm a really big network, and that would be still okay because I could still track everything, or it stops at some point, like not like, for example, after 10 sub-affiliates, like, let's stop, guys.
I've never seen someone with 10, but I have seen someone with like 4, which was quite impressive. I'm not sure how it happened, but I have seen it happen. But 10 I think is so much. If someone does 10, wow, I think the 10th guy must be getting really, really nothing. It's like, but who knows? I never say never.
Yeah. And okay. So I think that one thing is that also, as far as like we've now talked about trends, where is the affiliation side going? So what is like next? How is next 5 years looking for it? I hate that question when I was young.
Yeah,
people were
I get asked this question, and I always say the same thing. Like, I have no idea, I don't have the answers. But what I would say is, I think there's obviously this topic again of the diversification of traffic sources, which I think
putting eggs into different baskets just for not to.
I think this will continue as time goes on, because there is an obvious shift in how consumers behave. Again, like, SEO is I would say, I mean, it's under threat in a way, because how people look up information has changed. I mean, even me, I mean, I realized that if I'm coding something on Python, I haven't used Google for that in ages. I always go to ChatGPT and like kind of figure it out with ChatGPT. I mean, it makes sense. If I want to do an itinerary because I'm going abroad somewhere, I use ChatGPT. So there's this natural shift. What this looks like in 5 years, honestly, if you asked me 5 years ago, and I did a master's in AI, if you ask me, is ChatGPT possible in the next few years? I would have told you no way. AI is still very young and whatnot. There's still a lot to be developed. And 2 years later, ChatGPT came around. So I think predicting for the next 5 years would be foolish of me, to
Would
be
be
honest.
foolish, yeah. I stopped myself because I remembered when I was first starting out the jobs, and that was the question where you see yourself in like 5 years, and I was
I
like,
hate this
I
question
don't know,
because I'm like, man, I have no idea. Hopefully
no
making
idea.
a lot of money,
Yeah,
So that's,
sitting at this, not even working. Like my answer
yeah,
later became like that, so not even working in 5 years.
exactly.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but let's continue and see where we are in 5 years.
Hey,
But yeah,
why not?
basically, like next year might be the change, and also I think that the fact that customers will like are substituting little by little, even like web browsing, I think that will become a much more bigger thing, like for next few years also, and maybe like affiliation have to figure out how to get into that type of like sources and be where the customers will be. So general trend of the customer behavior affects the affiliation as part of their daily operations as well.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know that you made masters in AI. How long ago that was?
Oh, it was a while ago. It was I started in 2018. So I did like lots of they technically, I mean, to be fair, technically I didn't finish the masters in AI. I didn't do the thesis because I had some problems with the university. I don't want to go into it. But I did like all the units. I studied like machine learning. I remember I built a pretty cool tool which like would predict if a company, based on like financial results, if a company is likely to go bankrupt or not. Built this like really cool this cool tool. But yeah, it's a super interesting topic. AI for me it's fascinating. What I didn't expect was how fast it moved. I knew back then it's potential, because I remember I heard this story, and I always tell people the story of this project that these guys were doing with the game. The game Breakout or Pong. You shoot a ball and you break these like bricks at the top
different,
with the ball, and you hit the ball.
Very
And
casual game, very
yeah,
addictive. I have to confess about that. Yeah, too much. One time.
It's good fun. It's good fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
So these guys basically were building an AI which learns the game using reinforcement learning, which means that if it breaks a brick, it gets rewarded. If it drops the ball, it gets punished. It started doing like random movements to start off with and was terrible. Then after a few hours, it got better, and within I think 8 or 12 hours, it was like an expert. And then what they did, which was what they expected, they're like, okay, it's become really good at it. But then what was scary, that after a few more hours, it learned a trick. So it started to shoot the ball and dig like a hole into it.
Okay.
And the ball would break the bricks from behind, and the platform wouldn't need to move anymore. So the AI would just stay here.
Stay here.
And that was something which was, I remember when I heard the story, I was a bit shocked, because I was like, wow, man, this thing figured something out. It wasn't supposed to do, because it was just supposed to play the game well. And it's playing the game well, but it's just like it figured out its own thing.
Figured out the workaround, let's say like that.
Exactly. And that for me is the scary thing about AI,
Yeah, for me as well. And I think that from that story I can relate. I was playing Dota 2 for quite a long time, and after I haven't played it for years, but I still watch the international. One of my favorite esports tournaments there is. And I remember there was a show match between AI and players. And players lost, by the way. And that was so interesting in that time, because nobody was talking about AI. AI was not even a topic of discussion. I'm telling like 10 years ago, maybe. Like I was even still in university doing my bachelor's. Like even previous, like I was around 17 years old.
It still beat them, right?
Yeah, it still beat them. And I got so much interested into it that I read how, because there are too many heroes, each hero has too many, and there is a big map, and each hero has like different spells and so on and so on. So the variety of the games is so much. It's in billions, because everything matters, right? So it's like really big game. And like this game, this AI learned it under 3 months. And that was so amazing for me. Like, imagine all the years that I've spent. By the way, when I like Valve, you had to buy it on Steam as Valve bought the Dota 2. And last moment that I decided it's time to stop playing was when I had more than 10,000 hours logged in to it.
So that's nuts.
Yeah, and I transferred that into the months, and it was like too many months sitting down with the computer, and I was like,
I used to love to game. Like when I was much younger, I used to game a lot. Like it's 6-8 hours a day, but I haven't been able to. Like now, I don't know. When I switch on the PlayStation, I get bored within 30 minutes or 1 hour. So it's like.
By the way, fun story about that. My PlayStation is sitting in the office because like yeah, it was gifted to me, and even in the office, nobody plays it because like it's like mostly grown up. Yeah, mostly what we play is Mortal Kombat, but sometimes it's fun just to mock around each other. So the fact that I was asking about AI, and that was like a little bit surprising and maybe also coincidence about that. So we have a part of our podcast that is a blind question part, and these blind questions comes in a way that for example, you as a guest ask the blind question to the next one, and also our previous guest asked blind question to you as well. And the funny thing is that Nick from Megabit asked especially the question that must be, I don't know, maybe he had some kind of foresight and he saw it. I have to ask lucky numbers after that for Lotto. But we've seen the talks about AI, how it's changing the game, and also some discussions regarding how AI is implemented in iGaming, like one more time, hyper-personalization, like scale at the communication level, with like localization, game recommendation, and so on and so on. But like his question is that how can AI really become a game changer in iGaming? So he's such a sincere guy. He was like wondering like what should I take a close look into in future, because for example he mentioned that they are using it for customer service as well, like first layer of customer service go through that, and that's really good and helpful because it freed up much time and improve the quality and so on and so on. But as a game changer, what will AI bring in the iGaming world?
Wow. That's firstly, if I knew the answer, I think I would have a lot of money.
Me too.
I don't know if I would share the answer, but I mean, we could talk about that. I think in terms of, obviously, like he said, I mean, you have lots of people using AI agents, these like customer support agents and whatnot. What I remember quite well was back in the day, everyone used to like talk about AI, and you almost have this like mandatory slide in every PowerPoint that like you have, this is how we're going to adopt AI. But it was less about what you're going to solve and more about using AI, just to say, oh, look, guys, we're using AI. I think that ultimately it comes down to the usability, and actually integrating it with the product. For example, I mean, again, speaking in terms of affiliation, what I think would be super cool as a project, and I don't know at least of any affiliates doing this, could be that there are a few that do, but actually having kind of similar to Netflix, where like when they see that you watched, I don't know, Drive to Survive, they recommend the Tour de France thing for kind of like these suggestions. Not the most advanced form of affiliation AI, but it still can be extremely powerful. And I think that that's where people need to be kind of mindful with AI, that it's all about the use case. So what's the problem? And not forcing AI in there just
I've seen the second part, not the first part, to be honest.
Yeah,
like just forcing it.
It happens so much, It's like, because it's like, oh guys, look, we're doing AI just to make shareholders more comfortable. Like, oh guys, we have AI, but it's not the point, of AI. And I think I think the game changer will be when it's integrated in a product and makes that big difference. Now, how? That's a different question. That's something.
If we knew answer, we would be already developing.
I wish I knew, but that's what I would say about.
So, if I to phrase it, it will be like using or helping companies where there are big problems and really helping and not just being there as an AI. So it will become the biggest let's say it might become a biggest helper in the way what your problem is today.
Yes.
So it might be even with suggestions, with different things, with automation or so on and so on, but it
kind
will
of
help you.
looking at so AI firstly is an extremely vast term. Okay, you have like machine learning is just an umbrella underneath it, but you have there were elections, that were decided with AI. You look at, for me, the golden standard of companies, of data companies, are like your Facebook, Netflix, these sort of Amazon, these sort of companies. And I remember I watched a documentary on Netflix, funnily enough, about this company called Cambridge Analytica, and they used to use
I know
AI
that.
to promote certain stories and certain things to specific kinds of people, and they were playing with the emotions of people. And then, in a way, obviously, it's extremely it's an extremely dark way to use data and all this stuff. But at the same time, it's also fascinating and incredibly impressive. And they used AI in a very, very in a very impressive way. They used machine learning rather. So for me, again, these sort of things are like game changers. And it's not, the AI was obviously complex. These guys have incredible data teams, super talented guys. But as a use case, it's relatively straightforward, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's for me, that's where game changers come in.
So the thing was that they had a problem. If I remember that film correctly, they found a niche for the people that were not going to election at all, and they went after that niche in order to increase the percentage of the...
So for example, in the US, you're either a Democrat or Republican. Now, if you want the Republicans to win, I'm not going to go to a Democrat household, right? Because I'm never going to convince him. It's a waste of time. But the guys that are kind of in the middle, identifying them based on their likes and this sort of data crunching, which is extremely impressive. But the basic solution to the problem is very simple, Okay, let's convince the guys who always sway because they win elections. And the effect that had was, it impacted the whole world, And they didn't just do that with America, By the way, they used it for lots of other elections and whatnot. So, yeah.
Okay. And our last part before we go into the new horizons. By the way, most probably we are making another record. What will be your blind question for the next one?
Okay. Yes, I spent some time thinking about this because otherwise I would never have been able to think of one. I would say, what is the most important lesson you learned while working in iGaming? Can be career, can be personal, whatever.
What was it for you?
I knew you were going to ask that.
Yeah, of course. If the question is good, why shouldn't I?
I think for me, one of the most important ones. I don't know if it was the most important ones, but it was the value of a network of relationships. I would say that when I was younger, earlier on in my career, I don't think I realized how valuable having a strong network is, and how valuable it is to know people in the industry, and actually love it. I love connecting people together now. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's very, very cool, and one of, I think, the things I enjoy most. It's not something specific to iGaming, obviously, a strong network, but in affiliate, especially, it is very, very valuable because it's a very narrow space. So this guy knows this guy who knows this guy, and I know that guy. It's like yeah.
Okay, understood. I think that is something that I'm still figuring out because I have to, as a founder, I had to go through that, and I'm still going to, it's somewhere sitting behind all the roadmaps, all the tickets and everything that we have to do.
It is really important. It is really, really important. And again, it's just something which I've learned over time, over especially my time at Rauti, I would say, is when I learned it the most.
Okay, understood. Okay, I think that it was one of the talks that I enjoyed a lot. Thank you for that, glad. Michael. So first of all, thanks everybody that was listening to us. This was 9th episode, and if you listened and if you're listening still, don't forget to subscribe to us on any channel possible. We are everywhere. And please remember, this is iGaming Accent, brought to you by SBC Eurasia, and I'm your only host, Waho. Goodbye. See you next time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.